minimizing. Hey guys, happy Thursday once again. Welcome back to the Man Cave. It's that time of week once again. Jeff,
Hey,
all righty. Tanya's not going to be with us tonight, so it's just us.
it's just
You
us.
had a good week. Have you had a good week?
Oh yeah, always.
Ryan, glad you
You know, I
could
got
make
I
it, Motor.
got the new toy over the weekend, so
Anthony,
did a little playing with it.
yeah. So they had the Atlanta Grill Company event over the weekend. How'd that go?
There's over 5,000 people there, John.
Yeah. So it's
It
getting bigger
was,
and bigger every year.
my God, it was huge, man.
Yeah.
We had lines going down the street there, waiting to get in.
Awesome.
Kamado Joe has a new trailer that they brought in,
Yeah.
and we had the all the grills set up around the trailer, and then two tents set up with grills in those. So
Awesome.
good
I
time
got
was
my
had by all.
cousins in here. Judy and Dewey have come to visit tonight. Nice to see you
Cool.
guys here. Awesome. And Mike, glad you could make it. It's that time of week again. So that sounded like they had a good time down there. I haven't been to the last couple, so I'm glad to see that it's still growing. I saw some of the pictures. I think Megan posted a bunch of pictures, and they looked like there was a pretty big crowd there. But
Yeah, I mean, look at
yeah,
Tom uh, fast capture.
hmm
It's you can just, I mean, it looks like busy bees going
yeah.
everywhere.
Did he set that camera up in the back of the shop again?
Yeah,
Did a time
it,
lapse.
yeah, it
Oh
just
boy,
looked like a bunch of little busy bees floating all around.
yeah. It's bourbon time.
Cool.
One of my favorite nights of the week. I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna tap into this foolproof benchmark once again. I'm on a cheap bourbon run here lately. This once again, guys. This I got a little bit too much. I'll be all right. This
Mine's
is the
cheaper than
best.
yours, John.
What are you drinking tonight?
Water.
Water. Yeah, it is. But this is the best bang for the buck at the liquor store. It really is. If you can find it, it's the foolproof benchmark. And for those of us that can never get our hands on the Stag from Buffalo Trace, this is the next best thing. This is the next best thing that's not Stag. So,
We just lost the mountain up here. You cannot see across to the mountain now.
oh boy.
It's
So
coming
you're
in
having
nasty.
water tonight instead of bourbon. Well,
Yeah, unfortunately.
cheers to your water. Hmm. Excellent, Fran, Russ. Got the regulars. Most of the regulars are here. Robert, Mike. Good deal. So once again, we're winding things down here. We're almost done. Jeff and I were trying to decide if we're going to have a live stream next week. I don't have any great ideas for something to do next week. So keep your eyes peeled. If I decide that we're not going to do a live stream next week, I'll indicate so on the Man Cave Meals page. But the week after that will be the last live stream. that will be the final one. And what I'm planning to do on that one is I'm going to go through my history and I'm going to pick out probably 10 or so of my favorite cooks that I've done in this project since I started. I'm going to pick out maybe 10 and highlight a few pictures and ideas of some of the favorite things I've done over the years. I'll look at my YouTube statistics also, and I'll show you guys what my some of the statistics on my YouTube channel, and show you what some of my most popular videos are on the Man Cave Meals channel, because I looked at that the other day and you're going to be surprised when I show you the top 10 performing videos on my YouTube channel. You'd never be able to guess what any of them are. you'd never even get close. So that'll be something fun we'll look at, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm updating my video index. I've got this spreadsheet where I've made a list of all the videos I've made on the Man Cave Meals channel, the Kamado Joe channel, and on the Atlanta Grill Company channel, and I've got them categorized. I'm going to list them on that list 2 ways: one by date from beginning to end, and then I'm going to list them by category. And I'm going to make that available as a PDF on Man Cave Meals page, where you can download it if you want to, and have an index of my videos with a link to the video. The link to the videos there as well. And during this time, I've made over 750 videos. There's a lot. It's a lot of content. So it's kind of fun to look at some of the old ones, some of the very first videos I ever did. They're a far cry from some of the things I do lately, but oddly enough, some of those old videos are still my most popular ones. So, where are we? Kirk, glad you could make it in. Craig, heck yeah. So let's have another one. Right.
Let me know if I'm getting too much background noise. I may have to move again.
You're fine. Okay. So we were going to talk about some burgers again this week. And Jeff, let me bring your pictures up. Talk us through it.
Well, at the Atlanta Grill Company, at the fire show, I picked up a new toy. I picked up that Ankerstrom mixer. So I decided to make my own hamburger buns. And that's the ingredients for it. 540 milliliters of warm milk. Don't remember all the measurements. In the recipe, there's going to be a recipe at the end of it that'll show all the measurements. But anyway, it's milk, flour, sugar, salt, egg and a half, butter, yeast.
I was looking at this picture trying to figure out. I'm figuring this bowl here's got sugar in it. The glass bowl.
Yeah, the glass bowl is sugar. That's 45 grams of sugar. The one
These
next
two
to it,
smaller ones, one of these is salt, but I don't know what the other one is.
the one to the right of the sugar is salt. The two up above is the yeast and no wait, I'm sorry. The yeast and the salt is above. Then there's a small sugar down below because you use that in the egg wash that you're putting on top.
Oh, you put sugar in the egg wash?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. I've never tried that before.
Yeah, it's
So your egg wash, you're making the
teaspoon of
egg
sugar, 2 teaspoons of milk and an egg for the egg wash.
Okay.
So anyway, so I got the new Ankerstrom and put it in there using the dough roller. And what's neat about this machine is I wish I would have had a little better picture of it in the video. That top arm you can move inward. It's spring loaded.
Right.
So you can move it manually, or you can move it and hit the set screw so that you can have it like half an inch away from the edge of the bowl,
Yep.
an inch away from the edge of the bowl, or right up against the edge of the bowl, whatever you need to do to, to get it mixing the way you want it to.
And this next
So
video is just that after the dough's developed a little bit.
yeah, it's got some gluten form there, and you can see it's doing a nice job of kneading.
I don't know why this thing's giving me trouble displaying these videos today. It just takes it a while to download and broadcast out, I guess.
I guess.
Right.
Like I say, you can see it's come together nicely. So
Right.
from that, it's actually supposed to make one loaf, but I got more than that. So after that, you just put it in a bowl, and I put it in a bowl for the moment to put it back in the metal bowl. You're supposed to put a little bit of oil down in the bowl to grease it up a little bit, and you let it double. And that's where I missed the picture of it doubling. I don't know. I took it. I know I took it, but I don't know what. It's not on my phone, so I don't know.
So this is just after you were done mixing right here.
Yep. Yep. So that's my two hamburger buns and my loaf of bread.
So
And,
this is the bench. This is the bench rest
yep. And you can see
segment.
that
So
they've proofed
you put
nicely.
that, you put that from that last picture. You went into a greased bowl and you
Right.
covered it and you let it rise.
Yep.
And then you punched it down
Yep.
and shaped it out again into what you see here, and then let it sit for another 20 or 30 minutes to get to this point.
Yeah, it's actually a 45-minute
45
fermentation there. Yeah.
Okay. So you shaped out two hamburger buns and
Yep.
then one loaf.
Yep. And there they are going in the oven. You can see the egg wash on it.
Right. So how hot does that one? This is not a hot cook, is it? What is it? 350 or 375?
350 on the cook
350.
for right around. It was about 18 minutes on the hamburger buns and 30 minutes on the loaf.
Well, that cooks
to
pretty quick.
190.
That's not bad.
No. So those are the buns.
And those browned up beautifully. Those look
Yeah,
amazing.
They are really good. And then next picture should be the loaf and the buns on there.
Yeah. That looks good also. I'm not familiar with this particular bread, but I think, yeah, that's a good looking loaf. I think the next picture is our recipe. Or no, this
next
is the
picture is
crosscut.
cut.
Yeah, this bread has a crumb that looks a lot like my my sandwich
Pullman.
loaf. I really
Yep.
like that. That's a nice looking loaf.
And
So
then
here's the
there's
recipe.
And that's straight
And-
from the cookbook that comes with the mixer.
This is from the Ankarstrom cookbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It looks pretty good. So does it? Yeah, does it tell you specifics about using the Ankarstrom mixer?
Yep. If you look at the top, it's got the icons on there for what
You know,
doing.
I've probably got this cookbook. I'll have to ask Tanya, but I'm guessing we have this somewhere because I would think that one probably came with hers when I bought that mixer for her.
I would think.
I'll have to ask her if we've got that because I don't ever recall seeing it.
Well,
That doesn't mean
there's not a plain Jane loaf of bread recipe in there. Matter of fact, there's only 4 bread recipes in there. There's the milk
Right.
bread, there's a bagel, a baguette, and a banana bread, and then some type of like a bao bun type thing.
Right.
And then it goes to got a couple cookie recipes in there.
When I saw you when I saw you post this one of those video clips earlier this week of that mixer running, I thought you were making brioche because that looked like a slack dough, like a brioche dough.
It's very similar to a brioche dough. It really is.
Right. So then we get on to the burgers.
Yep. So I'm caramelizing some onions and I'm browning my buns, which that bread brown's really nice. I made out of the bread itself. I made a grilled cheese sandwich for my granddaughter. So I took my 3.5-inch patties and put them on and smash them.
3.5 ounce.
Yep. And this is where I got really light on my pictures. So,
Yeah.
because it doesn't take long to get that. So, what's on this burger completely is you've got a burger. For this one here, I've got a burger. I've got the grilled onions. Then Kathy makes this cheeseburger casserole, which is, wow, hamburger, sweet Italian sausage, mustard, onions, and several other things in there. And it's kind of like a cheddar cheese, and it's kind of like a sloppy Joe mixture, I guess,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word. So I put that on top, and then I threw a fried egg on top of that because I just love when the yolk breaks and flows into that.
Yeah.
It was magnanimous.
If you've never had a burger with a fried egg on it, it's something you should try at some
You
point
should.
because it really does. It really is a good burger. I've had quite a few. I've made a couple, and I've bought burgers at places that serve a fried egg on top, and I still think my favorite one was that Hawaiian burger I bought at Slater's 50/50 out in San Diego that had the spam. It had spam and a fried egg on it.
Yeah.
So it was really good.
I mean, hamburgers are so versatile. I mean, you start with the meat patty and go from there. Like I said, I call this everything but the kitchen sink.
Yeah, it's an amazing burger. It looks good.
It came out
So
real good.
how's the Weber griddle still treating you?
That Weber griddle, I tell you, I still haven't used the left burner. I've only used
Yeah.
two the burner so far. But that thing's rock solid. I'm having a
Well,
ball with it.
I had a massive brain fart with my griddle today.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I cooked on it. I cooked my burgers on mine yesterday, and I went out this morning to do some stuff, and I was looking at my griddle, and I said, "Well, I didn't do the greatest job of cleaning that griddle." So I decided to heat the griddle back up, and I made sure it was good and clean. And I had a little bit of beef tallow that I wanted to do something with, so I put about 2 or 3 tablespoons of beef tallow on the griddle and spread it out, and then I buffed all of it up that I could, and then I ran the burner up to full power on all 3 burners, and I was going to let it smoke. I was just going to smoke it in place, kind of a light reseason, and I came back in the house and I forgot that I had forgot that I'd left it on. So
Oops.
I realized that I had left it on when I went back out later on because I hadn't closed the lid on the griddle. My lid was still up, and I always close it when I'm done with it. And I looked at it, and it smoked it on there pretty good, but it also ran my fuel tank dry. But the fuel tank that I had on there didn't have a lot left in it, so I'm figuring that once it got that griddle up to temp, it was probably not there longer than 30 minutes before I ran out of fuel, because that tank that I've had on there, it's been on there for a while. I knew it was getting light, and I had my spare tank sitting next to the griddle because I was expecting to have to swap it out mid cook somewhere. And so when I realized what I had done, I took some Pam and just gave my griddle a light spray, and I buffed it on, and I heated it up long enough just till I started seeing some wisps of smoke, and then I shut it down. I let it cool and put the lid back down on it. But man, I'm having a blast cooking on the griddle. I'm really the griddle's something I've really wanted to mess with for a long time, and I don't know if you remember, quite a few years back, I bought one of I think it's like a 24-inch Blackstone.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what they call that griddle. It's kind of their least expensive one. It's less than $200, and I cooked on it a few times, and I wanted to cook on it more. But my problem then is I was committed to making video content for other things, and I wasn't able to make video content using that. So I just wasn't making myself take time to cook on it. And I sold it to a friend of mine for a bargain. And I said, when the time comes, I said I'll get a real griddle and I'll spend some time with it. And I don't regret any of the money I spent on this Traeger.
Well, I think the reason why I was so apprehensive in going back to a griddle is in my early days when I first started cooking, in the restaurant business. I mean, that's what I cooked on was a griddle, and that
Yeah,
was probably a good 4 years of every day griddle cooking. So I mean,
right.
I,
And Gabriel, thanks for stopping in, man. Gabriel's Gabriel's one of the people that I know that's a pizza guru. And I think the last time I ate something Gabriel had cooked, I think it wasn't actually a pizza. I think I had a, a calzone. I don't remember if he had done calzones or stromboli. He had done one or the other when he and he and Chef Eric and I got together on one of the farms down there where Chef Eric lived, and we made some video content. And I think that was the last time I had some of Gabriel's cooking. Uh, Guys, Gabriel's one of these people. He's forgotten more about pizza than I'll ever know. He's a pizza master for sure. So Gabriel, yes, thanks for stopping in. And uh, Gabriel is also. You guys remember the post I made recently about that barbecue daddy charcoal? Those big huge chunks of charcoal. That's Gabriel's company. Gabriel is the barbecue daddy charcoal guy. So keep your eyes open for that stuff here in the market. And it's amazing. But yeah, Gabriel, we'll have to do that. We'll get some. I was just talking to my wife today. I haven't had my pizza oven fired up lately, but I'm going to put some New York style pizza dough together maybe next week and try to duplicate one. We found a new pizza that we like at a local New York pizza shop. They call it the Cascade, and I don't know where the name came from, but it's a white pizza. It's got no tomato sauce on it. It's got mozzarella and ricotta, and I think parm on it, and it's delicious. It's very well done, very well made. And I want to make it here. I've made something similar to it before, but one of the things I've never perfected, Jeff, is my New York style pizza dough, and I want to get on the stick with that because there it's a specific style of dough that and it's a specific set of ingredients and a specific, well, I won't say there's a specific fermentation process for it, but I like cold ferment, and I know it's going to come out good on a 24 or 48 hour cold ferment the way I'm going to do it. But we're going to make that pizza, and I'm probably going to make it in the Gosney pizza oven. These pizzas don't cook nuclear temps like a Neapolitan. These are 500 to 550 degree pizzas. They're not 900-degree pizzas like the Neapolitans. So
they're not
I'll
90
have to.
second pizza.
No, it's a 5 minute pizza, 5 or 6 minute pizza probably. Uh, and that being the case, I might until I get the recipe where I want it. I might just cook them in my indoor oven, or I might cook them on the Kamado Joe. The Kamado Joe is easier to run at that temperature than the Gosney. The Gosney wants to run hot. It's designed. It doesn't start stretching its legs until you get up to 700 degrees with it. So yeah, you know how that goes, Jeff. You've got
Yep.
pizza oven, so
Yep.
the
I haven't put a pizza in my pizza oven in probably a year.
oh, that reminds me, Jeff. Gabriel had reminded me about this. Uh, the alpha,
Mhm.
the best way to temper the temperature in that alpha is with some of these huge chunks of charcoal. You get some big chunks of lump in there and get them going, and it'll hold steady at lower temperatures for longer periods of time than running a flame.
Cool.
So, yep, Tar Heel. Glad you could make it in. But anyway, I got Mike Little, that's one of our guys here with us tonight. He suggested when we talked about doing burgers again was doing, you know, I guess he likes my pimento cheese, and my wife loves my pimento cheese. So why can't we do a pimento cheeseburger? So that's where I'm going this week. Uh, like I've told you guys 1,000 times before, two of my wife's favorite things that I make are pimento cheese and my hot dog chili. She could care less about the barbecue and all the other stuff I do. Those are two of her favorite things that I make. And anytime they can come together, it's even better. So that's why I make the pimento cheese and chili hot dogs. So I was trying to figure out how to do something fun and bring that to a burger. So I made the pimento cheese, and I'm going to give you. I've got a screenshot of my recipes for these that will come up to at the end. So I got a block of extra sharp cheddar and cut it into cubes, and I run that. I just put that in my food processor. I don't. I like the texture I get out of this. This kind of gritty ball texture that I get when I put it in the food processor better than I like it shredded for pimento cheese. So that's what I did. I put it all in there. And then we bring our good friend Duke's mayonnaise into the picture. They really don't make any other kind of mayonnaise. Every other mayonnaise is an imposter, but this is what you want to use if you're going to make this. And my ratio, I've determined what works best for me most of the time is if I'm using a half a, or if I'm using a pound of cheese, I use a cup of mayonnaise. In this case, I was using a half a pound of cheese, so I used a half a cup of mayonnaise, and that's a personal preference. And when you're making my pimento cheese recipe, the amount of mayonnaise you put in it needs to be your decision based on what kind of consistency you like in your pimento cheese. You'll add more if you want a creamier pimento cheese, and you'll add less if you want it to be firmer. So the rest of the ingredients that go in my pimento cheese are a little bit of wash your sister sauce, some granulated garlic, granulated onion, and I use chipotle powder this time around. Uh, Sometimes I'll use cayenne, but I really like chipotle powder is a little more tame than the cayenne, and you can use whatever you like. Sometimes I use spicy barbecue rubs in the place of that, and I'll use more of it. I'll use like a tablespoon of that. Jeff, that Lane's SPF 53 is
Mhm.
a great addition to this. If I use the SPF 53, that's all I'll use, and I don't
I
use the
bet the
onion garlic.
Spellbound Hot would be good in it also.
Yeah, I've never tried that one. I do know that the SPF 53 is awesome though. And then I use the diced pimento peppers, and this is one of the. I think this is a 4 ounce jar. It's the small jar of diced uh, pimento peppers, and I use half of a jar when I'm using a half a pound of cheese. You can use more, you can use less. This is one of those things that it doesn't really matter. You got to make it and figure out what you want to do with it in terms of taste. But I do drain the liquid off of those before they go in. So
Yep.
from there, I just dump all of that into the mixing bowl with my cheese, or I dump the pimentas in with the cheese. All of my spices, I mix it with the mayonnaise first. That way, it distributes more evenly when you mix it in with the cheese. If you don't, sometimes you'll find a clump of something in there that didn't get dispersed. So I've put my Worcestershire sauce, my chipotle, my onion and garlic in a little mixing bowl separate with the mayonnaise, and I just mix that up good first, and then we put that in with the cheese and pimentas and mix it up from there. And if you can make this a day in advance, you'll be better off because this stuff tastes better after it's sit for a day or two.
Hmm.
And I just put it in a glass bowl, put a lid on it, and I toss it in the refrigerator. So I did that the day before. So one of the things I wanted to do with this burger to make it something different that I haven't done before is I thought my chili and pimento cheese cheeseburger would be great with some of the crispy fried onion straws on top. So I bought an onion, and I only made half an onion's worth. I sliced my onion in half this way and then just chopped it down fairly thin. I didn't go quite as what was it we did where we were doing the thin onions, the Oklahoma burgers.
Yeah, the Oklahoma.
I didn't go quite Oklahoma burger thin. I went a little thicker than that, and I just did half the onion, and then I put them in one of my little glass bowls, and I poured enough buttermilk in to cover those up, and I put the lid on that and let those onion strips marinate in that buttermilk for about 2 or 3 hours. And then I needed to make some seasoned flour to deep fry these things in. So here, guys, I didn't measure anything. I think I had a cup, somewhere between a cup and a cup and a half of all-purpose flour, and I bought some of this Kinder's cowboy butter seasoning, and this stuff has an amazing flavor to it. This is something that would be great on a steak, and I decided I was going to try this to season my flour with. So I put maybe two two tablespoons or so of that in with my flour, and I mixed it up. I don't know what happened to this photograph, guys. I think I had something on my camera lens, but that's just kind of a picture of what my seasoned flour looked like after I mixed that seasoning in. So then I dumped my onions out into a colander and let the excess buttermilk drain off of those. And then I tossed these in my flour. I did this in batches. I didn't get it all in there at once, and just tossed it around and let those onion strips get coated with this seasoned flour. And I shook off as much of the excess as I could. And then I got my deep fryer running at that's full power on mine. My little deep fryer won't get any hotter than 375, and that's honestly about where you'd want to be for this. 375 is a good place. And I deep fried these in batches also. I think I did 3 separate batches on that half onion just so my basket wouldn't be crowded and wouldn't have them all sticking together. So you want to leave them in there till they get browned up like this, and then I tossed them out and let them drain on paper towel. And these things were delicious. That seasoned flour with the Kinder's cowboy butter seasoning blend was perfect. It worked very well. So my chili, I don't have a video of or any pictures from making the chili. I think I did that last time, or when I actually made this on a previous live stream. I took some of my chili out and just set it in a small saucepan on the griddle to warm it up while I was getting ready to cook my burgers. I got that warmed up and then just kind of set it aside. And I did 4.5 ounce burgers this time, Jeff. I wasn't going to do a traditional smash burger. I'm going to use the smash burger technique, but I want my burger patty to be a little thicker, and I went with singles on this one instead of a double. So I started out with the 4.5 ounces. I toasted my buns on the griddle in butter like I normally do, and that's what I ended up. That's how my buns came out. Those were. I'm not going to call that a perfect toast, but they were pretty close. They were pretty good. I smashed out my burgers using a piece of parchment paper with my big flat burger spatula, and as you can see, I didn't press them out as thin as I normally might for a smash burger. And then I topped those guys off with some more of that cowboy butter. I seasoned one side of those with the cowboy butter. And then when I flipped them, after I had a chance to get a crust on there, I topped those guys off with some of that homemade pimento cheese. And once I had that on there, I put the dome on it for about 1.5 minutes or so to let that pimento cheese get melty. And while that was going, I went ahead and spooned on some of my chili onto the bottom part of the bun. And on mine, I loaded it up with the dill pickle slices because that's just something that's got to be on my burger. Tanya doesn't care for that, so I put Tanya's on mine as well. I think I put 5 or 6 pickles on my half there. So, and here's my burgers with that pimento cheese after I pulled the dome off. So I scooped those guys up and set them on top of that bun with the chili and the pickles in my case. And then we topped off with some of those crispy onion straws and made what I thought was a fantastic hamburger. Uh, in my opinion, that's one of the better hamburgers I've made in recent years. I've made a lot of different kinds of hamburgers, but this is one I'll do again for sure.
Only thing that would
Now,
have made that better, John, is a fried egg.
I don't know if a fried egg would work so well on this one. It might, but
But I think it would. I think it would just add to that pimento cheese.
well, I want to do something like that. But I think when I get ready to, what I want to do is I want to make some homemade breakfast sausage and make a breakfast sausage patty and put egg and cheese on it. Make a sausage, egg, and cheese breakfast burger out
Oh,
of it sometime.
that's what we did on that one cook on our breakfast for dinner
Yeah.
cook that we did that time. That's pretty much
Did
what
I?
we
So I've
did.
done that already.
Yeah,
See, I've done so much stuff I can't even keep up with it.
yeah, we did that that breakfast cook on the. I put mine on the tortillas.
Right. Now, yeah, I do remember now. But here's the recipes that I have written down for my hot dog chili and my pimento cheese. So you're welcome to screen capture those. And I think I recently posted those on the Man Cave Meals Facebook page. I think Mike Little had asked me about posting these, and or posting the hot dog chili one anyway. So those have come up recently, and neither one of these recipes has really evolved much in the last few years. I don't really change much about either one of them. The the Man Cave hot dog chili, I'll vary the beer that I use, and this particular batch of chili is different than any other batch I've made because the only beer I had on hand when I wanted to make this was Guinness, and I've never made it with Guinness before. And Guinness, I have to admit that Guinness contributed a very unique flavor to this chili. It's not something I'm used to, but it's good. It's just different. The very first time I made this chili, I used a Hellesbach in it, which I would prefer to do that. I prefer that one. And the particular Hellesbach that I was using, I can't get it anymore. They don't make it. Uh, but I can get the Rogue Dead Guy Ale, which is a Hellesbach. And if you don't want to mess with a Hellesbach, the next best thing to use in this is a fairly hoppy beer like the Sierra Nevada Torpedo is an excellent choice uh, for this one. The Sierra Nevada Pale Ale would be okay. That Torpedo is just it's different in my mind to a lot of the other hoppy beers, and I've made it with Torpedo, and it's a good choice. So that was my burger for the week.
Cool. Now I got some exciting news, John.
What's that?
Well, I saw your Kramer sitting there. Guess what I did today?
Oh, did you buy another Kramer?
Yep.
Which one did you get?
I got the 5-inch utility.
The utility.
Yep.
I want the paring knife, and I want the 6-inch chef. I don't know if I'll ever add another one. I don't know if I'll ever add another one of those to my arsenal or not. I might. They're just expensive.
Before I got the 6-inch chef, I would get the Santuca.
I'm not a fan of those. I don't have any. I've had them in the past, and I just don't understand why I want that knife. If somebody could convince me why I need that, I might look at it. But Jeff, are you still there? Okay, either I'm hung up or Jeff is hung up. Can somebody tell me where we are? I know Jeff's in a place where he might be having a problem. Can somebody type something in the comment field? Voodoo Ranger, I guess that's new. So, okay. Yeah, Jeff might be locked up. Well, that's okay. I know he's at a resort hotel in the mountains of North Georgia. So maybe he'll make it back. Oh. Okay. I think he's trying to come back in now. let's see if he makes it. His window popped back up. But anyway, that burger was fantastic. I really had a good time making it. Tanya liked it. It's always a plus when I get Tanya approval. My friend Stephen Hickey, I know a lot of you guys know who Stephen is. He did a burger earlier in the week, or actually it was last week, that caught my attention. It's something I'm going to play with. It's a macaroni and cheeseburger, and I don't remember everything that went on it, but what I do know is he put he cooked his burger patty, I guess the way he normally would. Then he put an egg ring on a cast iron griddle or a cast iron pan or something, and he put in some macaroni and cheese into the egg ring and let it cook in that egg ring until it browned up. Let's see if we got Jeff back.
I don't
Are
know
you
what
back?
happened. Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went
Well,
crazy night.
I was just telling everybody about Steven's macaroni and cheeseburger
Yeah.
idea, and that's an idea that I'm going to pursue because I think that might make a really intriguing burger. But Steven used a grocery store variety macaroni and cheese, and I want to make mine from scratch because that's just what I do. I don't have anything against store bought mac and cheese because God knows I eat it. Well, I don't buy the kind he bought, but I'm a sucker for a Kraft macaroni and cheese dinner and Velveeta shells and cheese. I'm all about some of that stuff. It's quick and easy, but for mac and cheese is quick and easy anyway. The way I do it, but I want to make my roux, my bechamel, my mornay, and dump my pasta in. I think we've lost Jeff again.
No, I'm still here.
Oh nope, you're still there. Okay.
I'm still here.
I want to make it, but I want to make it a little thicker
Yeah,
than I
definitely.
normally would. Like I normally like to make that a really creamy consistency, as creamy as possible, because I'm going to put it in a baking dish. I'm going to put cheese over the top of it, and I'm going to throw it under a broiler to melt that cheese on top and brown it. And I want what's underneath that to still be soft and creamy and silky. But for this project, I want that to be thicker where it'll hold together easier. I want it to but that's something I'm going to work on over
Suggestion
time.
for that,
And
John. If you're going to do that, make your mac and cheese the day before, so that
well,
overnight it can soak up more of the liquid. The macaroni will soak up
yeah,
more of the liquid, so you'll get a real nice solid. And then take those egg rings and
put it in the
mold
refrigerator.
mold it in that, on the day that you're going to use it, and then throw it out
Yeah,
on the
well,
griddle and
I,
get a
I could do
nice
that.
crust to it.
It's probably not a bad idea. I'll have to ask Steven if he put his on his griddle cold. I didn't ask him that. I don't think he's here. Look, he's here. Steven's here. Okay,
Steven.
Steven, did you put? Yeah, the Kraft wouldn't work, and I don't think the
No.
Velveeta would either. But when you put that on, was it cold or was it already hot? Did you put it on your iron? I think you were cooking on an iron surface or the soapstone, one or the other. But did you go on to that cold and just let it heat and brown that cheese at the same point? Uh, that's something I want to look at, but I'm gonna try it because I think it'd be good.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it would be fantastic, but I'm going to play with it once again because once I get that process to where I think I can do it consistently, what I want to do is turn it into a buffalo mac and cheese burger rather than just I'm thinking we're going to put some buffalo sauce in that mac and turn it into something with a little bit of back end heat, or I could just put hot sauce in the cheese sauce as I make it. But that homemade creamy mac and cheese, I can bring that together in about the same amount of time it takes to cook a Kraft macaroni and cheese dinner.
Yeah.
Because while I'm cooking that pasta, I can have another pan going and I can have my cheese sauce done about the same time the pasta gets done.
Yep.
So it's not hard to do. It's a little less convenient and
Well, I said I'd make it the day before so it soaks up more
yeah.
of into the mac.
That makes sense.
Gets you more solid.
That makes sense. And also, if I'm doing that, I can make exactly how much I need, and not have a bunch of extra. So Steven said the soapstone and it was ice cold.
Cool. Yep.
He cooked on the soapstone, and the macaroni and cheese was cold when it went on. So yeah, that makes sense. That's the way to handle that. That way it's going to have time to brown nicely, and while it's heating the mac and cheese. But I'm the guy that likes that cheese. I want it all. I want it just shy of black when I'm done with it. I like that dark brown caramelized cheese. Getting cheese toast. My dad would make me cheese toast when I was a kid. When you put that slice of American cheese on there and put that thing under the broiler, that cheese starts to brown, and then all of a sudden this bubble forms on it. The cheese
Big
bubbles.
bubble.
And I wanted my bubble completely brown. That's when mine was ready. So this is going to be fun. It's going to be a fun way to do it.
No, I think those onion rings on top would be good.
Maybe. I don't want to overdo it. Stephen, what all went on yours besides the burger and the mac and cheese? Did you put anything beyond that on yours? I can't remember. Thin coating of ghee on the stone. Yeah, I always do that, or ghee, or whatever I've got handy. I was working with beef tallow yesterday and today, so. But the ghee, yes, the ghee is a definite.
My go-to has been that bacon up. That does a real good job, and surprisingly, it doesn't taste like bacon grease because it's been so strained and refined. It's
right.
So it's almost like a pork tallow.
That's one of the reasons I don't think I'm going to buy it again. I bought it. I've got a thing of it in my refrigerator, and I just don't use it because to me it doesn't taste like bacon grease. It's not bringing.
It's not.
It's not
but
bringing.
It sure lubes the grill.
Yeah, it's not bringing the same flavor I get when I cook in actual bacon grease. That's one of the things when we were talking about that before. It's got no salt in it, and bacon grease is salty. Bacon grease is bringing salt to the table, and that's not bringing any. So I'm
they
curious.
Got it refined, really.
Yeah, I don't like the refining. I think that's taking away a good thing. David says they do some chipotle peppers in the cheese. Yep, I've got what I have on hand in terms of dried peppers. I've got dried diced jalapeno, I've got dried diced habanero, and I've got dried diced cayenne. That's left over from previous summer's harvests. I chop those up, and I put a piece of parchment paper on a sheet pan and just set it outside in the sun all day, and it dries. It dries up, and I've got habanero and plenty of habanero, plenty of jalapeno. I threw out the ghost. I am tired of trying to learn how to deal with ghost peppers. That hurts. I've hurt myself too many times trying to learn how to use ghost peppers.
And it hurts twice.
Yeah, it does. It hurts on both ends.
Twice. It's just not a single hurt. It's boom, boom.
So I'm giving up on ghost peppers. I've grown ghost peppers twice, and I'm just not going to do it again. And I have learned that don't touch the plant or anything on it without nitrile gloves on.
Now, do you like radishes, John?
Not really. Tanya does.
If you take radishes and you cultivate your radishes, and then you replant radishes again, and you cultivate them again, and you replant them the third time, you get hot radishes. And I do mean hot radishes.
Right.
I don't know why, but man, they got some heat to them.
right? So I don't know. I've only got one pepper plant out this year. I've got another cayenne out, and I wouldn't have it had a friend of mine not given me the plant. I wasn't going to grow peppers this year, but I've got one cayenne out. I've got four tomato plants out. I've got two San Marzanos and two cherry tomato plants out, and then I've got my herbs. I've my herb garden. Uh, I've got some beautiful looking basil. Uh, the basil that I have really is
Really looks
doing
nice.
well. It's I've got I grow my basil in these bucket gardens, and out beyond the end of that third basil plant, I've got a new rosemary going as well. These are about a foot tall, but I'm pruning these where they're going to bush out a lot, and they're doing real well. So I like having basil for a lot of different things. I like putting fresh basil leaves in my tomato sauces, and I like that basil chiffonade as garnish on
Hmm.
like on if Gabriel's still with us. Gabriel, I like to do a calzone and pour my marinara sauce across the top of the calzone on the outside, and then the basil chiffonade on top of that. It's beautiful, and it smells so good.
Yes, it
This is
is.
Genovese basil. This is nothing fancy. Uh, I don't have any fancy basil, but this is the kind I like. This is the kind I like to use. So uh, these three plants will give me several years worth of dried basil. I'll dry some of it and chop it and have it for later use. I may not chop it. I may just keep the leaves whole and chop it as needed. But the other herbs that I have going this year, I've got my parsley's not doing well at all. I'm not really going to have any harvestable parsley. I've got oregano, thyme, and chives going, and rosemary. I don't even have any sage up this year. So I tore up my sage plant and used the pot for something else. So I'll have to start another sage. Sage comes back every year for me. The sage, the oregano, the thyme, the chives come back, and the rosemary will come back, but the basil won't. The basil's got to be put out every year. So, well, do we want to have a live stream next week? And if we do, what are we going to do on it? What do we want to do? Somebody toss us out some ideas. Next street, the next if we do a live stream next week, it'll be the last cooking live stream that we have where we're doing something new. Uh, Anthony says that roasted radishes are really yummy.
Yes, they are. If you had some Terrace Major, I'd say let's do some Terrace Major.
Uh, I can get it. Uh, the only thing I could get Terrace Major, but the only thing I don't like about Terrace Major is I don't know. I'd have to come up with something creative to do with it because it's just one of these meats that cooks like any other steak. What would I do? I've done Terrace Major
I
a
prefer it
couple
to
of
filet
different
mignon.
ways. Huh?
I
You
prefer it to
prefer
filet
it to
mignons
fillet?
any day
Yeah.
of the week.
The mac and cheeseburger. I'm not going to get the mac and cheeseburger in play that quickly. I'm not going to have time. I'm going to want to experiment with that before I would ever post about it.
I say that
Ryan says
Terrace Major with
chicken.
some of that butter that you did, that compound butter.
Yeah. Tri-tip. I've got a tri-tip in the freezer. I was at the grocery store a while back and they had them on sale for $5.99 a pound, so I bought one. Uh yeah. I don't think I'm gonna cook those yet either. Those dry aged strips. That's something I yeah, the This is a 12-pound. That's what a 12-pound New York strip whole strip looks like when it comes out of my dry aging locker. So that doesn't look like it's something anybody would want to eat, right? But well, that's the wrong way. This is what they look like when you slice them apart. The color of the beef is this rich, dark crimson color, and that leathery bark is still on there, and you have to cut that off. And I cut that off of these before I vacuum sealed them and put them away. These are cut thick. These are cut an inch and a half thick. But yeah, dry aging is if you haven't had dry aged beef before, I highly recommend trying that. Don't avoid that. Get it at some point. Jeff, I know you've
You
had dry
like to
aged
try
beef before.
anything once.
Yeah. Well, I've dry aged now at about every time interval, short of 60 days. I've done 28 days, 30, 35, 45, and 60. And I can live with 45, but I think I'm happiest at 30 to 35 days on mine. The 60 is a little bit too funky for me. It's too much. It's not the flavor of it is amazing. The aroma of it, I'm not as big a fan of it. I have a problem with anything that the flavor and the aroma don't treat me the same way. you know,
Yep.
if I like I need to like the aroma and the flavor before I'm going to like it all the way around. And the aroma, I'm at odds with the aroma on 60-day dry aged beef. Now, there's a couple of other people out there that are. Jeff, have you seen the videos and stuff where people are coating the dry aged beef with butter?
Yep.
Okay, there's something going on there that might be fun to play with, and I've been thinking about it. What I would like to do is get a dry age going and give it 14 to 21 days in the dry ager before it gets really dry, before I have this really heavy leathery bark on the outside, and let the dry age process get going, and then coat it in that butter and let that butter solidify on the outside of it and put it back in the dry ager. What's going to happen there if my this is not fact, this is what I think is going to happen.
This is your hypothesis.
Yes, this is my guess at what's going to happen because of the dry aging experience I've had. The butter on the outside of it's going to eliminate the beef from giving up any more moisture. The beef shouldn't give up any more moisture with the solid butter coating on the outside, because there's no air circulation getting to the meat to carry moisture away. But the enzymatic processes that have started prior to that are going to continue. So I think you can probably get a deeper dry age and get the funk of the longer term dry age without having to sacrifice a quarter to a half inch of the outside of the meat to trim it up. It'd be fun to play with. It'd be an expensive process because you're going to have 4 or 5, 6 pounds of butter maybe to put a solid coat of butter on the outside of one of these things. But some other people wrap it in cheesecloth at that point. They'll put it on a sheet pan on a rack. They'll wrap it in cheesecloth and they'll pour bourbon over the top of it while it's dry aging and keep the outside of it moist after it's hit a certain point. And I'm not sure how that pans out either. I've watched people do it, but this is one of those things that doesn't do any good for somebody to tell you what this tastes like. You need to experience it on your own. And dry aged beef is expensive. If you find it in a grocery store or a butcher shop, if they're selling 30-day dry aged beef, I don't think you'll find any of it for less than $40 a pound. And it may be twice that with some cuts. It may be $80 a pound. There's a grocery store here that sells dry aged beef, but I haven't looked at their prices lately. But I haven't looked at their prices since the pandemic, to be honest with you. But before the pandemic, they were nearly $40 a pound on dry aged ribeye, and it's expensive. I think I figured my cost in these steaks. I got these 9 steaks out of it. My cost in making those was about $12 per steak. I paid $102 or $103 for that whole loin. So when I got 9 out of it, there's somewhere between $11 and $12 a piece for those. I don't know what they weigh. I didn't weigh the individual steaks. I started out with 12.7 pounds, but I probably lost 25% of the weight in the dry age. I'm pretty confident that we were probably down in the 8-pound range, somewhere between 8 and 9 pounds after the dry aging. That's how much moisture we evaporated out of that steak during that. I was in here for 30 days on that one. So what else have we got? Scallops. Let me answer Anthony's question there first. I think it is, to be quite honest with you. I think it's a waste. Now,
because you don't have the fat and the intermuscular.
It's not a total waste if you don't dry age it too long. You don't have to dry age something for a month. You can dry age something for 7 days if you want to, or 14 days, where you're not going to have as much loss. But that's something I would just have to try. I won't be buying beef tenderloin anytime soon. I can't afford it. It's
gotten ridiculous. Even the untrimmed tenderloins are ridiculous.
I've never bought a trimmed one. I don't mind trimming them myself. I can have one of them trimmed up in 5 minutes, and I'm not going to pay somebody else $5 a pound to do that for me. But I wouldn't. If you want to go 30 days, I wouldn't do a tenderloin. I wouldn't because you're going to lose too much, and you're going to have little tiny steaks. You're going to lose half of your meat if you dry age a tenderloin for 30 days. So, country style ribs. I don't know. I've done those before. In fact, my cousin Dewey, if he's still here, I did his recipe on country style ribs. They were really good. Country style ribs are not really ribs. They're slices off of a pork butt. They're, I don't know. Stir fry on the griddle. I don't know. I'm not going to make anything I can't pronounce. I don't even know what that is. Honorog's too high end for me. I don't even understand his suggestions, Jeff. Janice is with us. So, yes, Michael, that's the one I was talking about. That's the only place to buy dry aged beef locally. And I'm betting it's north of $40 a pound out there by now. They've got a dry aging locker in the grocery store.
Yeah, we just got a Lowe's up here by us at Big Canoe. And
yeah, Lowe's they're owned by a company here in town. That's a company that's owned right here where we live. Yeah, I've seen some of Guga's videos. Yeah, Brandon, I do. I've still got 2 of them. I haven't been cooking on them as much lately because I've been doing a deep dive in this Huntsman, the Spider Grills Huntsman. I think I've gone past the 6-month mark. I wanted to I wanted to really evaluate the Huntsman and see what the real capabilities of that grill are before I went back to cooking on the Kamados. But I did cook recently. I have cooked in the last 2 weeks on the Kamados. I just haven't posted anything about it. But yes, I will always be using a Kamado Joe. That that still is my favorite grill. That's the jack of all trades. That's the Swiss Army knife of the grilling world. Beth, glad you could make it in with us. Yeah, Lee, I've done them, and there's a video out there somewhere. I don't know which channel it's on. I think it's on the Atlanta Grill Company channel, maybe. Yeah, that's true, Lee. It's the Alex Lee Corp. It's MDI that owns Lowe's, and I don't know how far Lowe's reaches outside of North Carolina. Do they have them in Georgia?
Yeah, we finally got one. They replaced the IGA up here with the Lowe's. It's a small store. I don't think it has a dry locker in it. I have not seen
Yeah,
one in it, but then again, it could be
James,
behind the scenes.
glad you could check in with us tonight. Long time no see. So James has tried the butter and tallow. So James, did you hear the comment I made about what I thought would happen if you did that and went for a longer if you didn't put the butter on or the tallow on until you had been going for 21 days or so? Did you hear my comment on that? And if you did, what do you think about my estimation of that? Because like I said, it's just an assumption of how that might come out. Uh, I haven't tried it. I have not given it a shot myself. So, James, what I was saying was I was thinking about starting a dry age on something like a strip loin or a prime rib, or not a prime rib, but just a whole rib roast, and or the whole prime. What am I trying to say here, Jeff? The whole New
Ribeye.
York, the whole ribeye. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. James, get 21 days or so of dry age in on it before you put that butter on it. And because my estimation is that when you put the butter on, you're going to quit drying the beef. It's not going to dry any further, but the enzymatic action that has gotten started inside the beef, that controlled decomposition, for lack of a better term, continues without drying anymore. And that's kind of what I think would happen. Uh, I, these ones that people put it on in the beginning, I don't see how those are actually drying any. Uh,
I don't either.
yeah, right. So yes, and the bag, for what it's worth, guys, the bags work well. The umai dry steak bags or whatever they call
Yep.
those, I've done those before. And if you don't want to invest in a dry aging a chamber, which most people don't because they're stupid expensive, I agree with that. I got roped into buying one because I had a little extra money and I had an itch to spend it. But those dry bags will allow you to do this kind of dry aging in your refrigerator. And I'm going to tell you honestly that there's not a whole lot of difference in the results. In fact, one aspect of dry aging in the bags is better because that that bark, that leathery, scaly stuff on the outside is not as hard and it's not as firm when you're doing it in those bags. So give them a try if you get a chance. So that's it's a really good method and it's cheap. I don't know what the bags cost today, but you're not going to be spending north of $1,500 on a humidity controlled refrigerator. So uh, it's a but dry aging. I like dry aging these whole strip loins, and I like dry aging the whole rib eyes. But I've also done some experimenting with dry aging chuck, and one of the things the next thing I dry age is going to be some more chuck because I'm I had a good result when I wanted to make some dry aged ground beef, and the proper process for that can go a couple of different ways. What I did was I dry aged a chuck roast for 30 days, and I think I went 30 days. I'd have to go back and look that up now. I can't remember. Maybe I only went 21 days, but what I did was I cut it up and I mixed it with an equal amount of non-dry aged chuck and then ran it through my grinder. And I had a what was a 50-50 mix of dry aged chuck and non-dry aged chuck, and it made some amazingly good hamburgers. But I need to I need to do more with that. Uh, I've done a little bit of reading and a little bit of research about dry aging chuck, and I think I need to dry age the chuck for a little less time. I think I probably only need to go 14 days on the chuck to get the results I'm looking for. Dry aged beef also, you got to be careful with it when you cook it because it cooks a lot faster because of the lack of moisture. It comes to temp far quicker than your regular cuts do, and you better stay on top of it, or you're going to end up with a medium well steak when you didn't want it. When you didn't want medium well, carryover cooking is going to run a lot further in that same steak because there's a lot less moisture in it. You don't get the evaporative cooling effect, and the temperatures come up in those quickly. They cook a lot faster. So, yeah, Honorog, large fish, swordfish, and tuna. They're dry age. People dry age duck as well. And I was looking today to try to come up with something else fun to dry age, and I was looking at pork loin, and I couldn't find any good results. I've done pork loin, and I didn't really think the results were worth the effort. But
I would think doing a pork loin would make it drier than dry.
well, the problem with pork is it's too lean. The
Mhm.
leaner cuts don't do as well.
That's why I wouldn't do a
Uh,
tenderloin.
right. I want to. One of the things I am going to experiment with is people like to dry brine chicken before they cook a whole chicken.
Mhm.
I'm thinking a 4 or 5 day dry brine in the steak locker might produce something worth looking at. I'm going to experiment with that. I was doing some reading about how crispy the skin comes out when you roast a chicken that's been dry aged for a short time. It's like, a lot of people will put their whole chicken in the refrigerator for a while before they cook it anyway because a regular refrigerator will dry the skin out on a chicken pretty quickly because regular refrigerators, the humidity is incredibly low in there. It's below 30% in most cases, but I'm running 80% humidity in that steak locker there. And I think 4 or 5 days might do something fun. It'd be worth trying. I wouldn't
Try
lose
anything
anything
once,
but
twice if you like it.
a $10 chicken.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Well, like I said, next week I'll figure out. Jeff and I'll talk, and if we can come up with something, we'll have a live stream. But if not, be sure to check us out in about 2 weeks because that's going to be our last one. So until then, we're going to check out, and we'll talk to you next time around.
Adios.